Okay, today's date is December the 17th. It's a Saturday. I'm currently here at the Ventura County Superior Court records to see what's happening with the case regarding David Alexander. My neighbor had once again filed a false restraining order against somebody. I had to help this gentleman because he came over here in tears and distraught, and so I called the police on his behalf so he could go get his clothing out of the room that he was renting. And, it's been 17 days since I've actually even heard from him. I've been trying to call him, but unfortunately, I'm guessing wherever he's at, he's not able to charge that phone of his because it goes directly to voicemail whenever you call that number. So I don't know if he's not able to charge it or what, but I'm hoping he's going to show up in court on Monday, the 19th, because if not, then he'll probably end up getting a restraining order for 5 years, and it'll really prevent him from renting a place anyplace else because it affects your credit, and it's bad. But anyway, so I'm here and I'm noticing that apparently on the 14th, my neighbor did file an affidavit of unsuccessful service, which means clearly he was never served. So even though he has a temporary restraining order in effect at this point, because he hasn't been served, he also hasn't seen what she's accused him of, because it's written on the declaration. So if he does go to court on Monday, he's not going to be able to know what he's fighting. But, it's his fight to fight. I'm just trying to help him out. And when I last saw him on December 1st, and it was pouring rain out, and the police assisted him in getting his stuff out of his room, I was confident that maybe he knew how important it is for him to show up at that court date. So I hope he does on Monday. But, at this point, clearly, he hasn't been served. And when she was there filing that he hasn't been served thing, nothing prevented her. Nothing prevented her from just go ahead and dropping it. And just say, oh, well, But no. I guess apparently she still plans on going to court on Monday and still getting a restraining order for elder abuse that is in no way valid. But, if he doesn't show up, the judge will probably grant it. Okay, so it's December the 18th tomorrow. David is going to go into the courtroom. I hope he prevails. I was worried that he wasn't going to show up tomorrow, but he showed up here, so he confirmed, yes, he is definitely going into that courtroom tomorrow. And he also informed me that that ambulance and all of that I saw was actually for him, that he had been checking the mailbox to get his mail out and apparently fell and hit his head. And got some stitches, right?
Right. Correct.
Okay, so he's definitely going to the courthouse tomorrow, so hopefully, no matter what, the judge will see that this man does not deserve a restraining order.
Where the trailer is.
Where all the trash is and everything else, right? Okay, so it's the eve before David has to go into that courtroom. And I'm really glad to see he's going to go. I didn't know if he was going to or not because I haven't been in contact with him. But I'm going to write him out a little letter to give to the judge in hopes that it might help. I don't know if it'll help. I just know it'll shed some light on the fact that I am the person prior to this elder abuse charge that also had an elder abuse charge, and I was able to disprove the false allegations. And I was also, under the impression that before she could file another elder abuse case, that she was going to have to show cause, prove something, not just write something on a piece of paper, hand it to the clerk and go, here, I need a restraining order, and just have it automatically granted. So, because I deemed her, or filed a vexatious litigant with her, regarding her, because she is a vexatious litigant. She has over 40 court cases in the Ventura County Courthouse. And, that's a lot of cases for one person. And for them all to be, elder abuse? No, I'm sorry. Okay, maybe there's like 9 of them are elder abuse. And then there's others where she's suing people, evicting people. Yeah, but I have a lien on her house due to the fact that she willfully went in there and told a bunch of lies in order to get a restraining order. And she also, of course, willfully destroyed my fence 3 times now and steals my lighting and does all kinds of other crap. But right now, yeah, this is David's fight. I can't fight it for him. But maybe I can at least help by letting the judge know that I was the case before him. So I guess David's going to come here tomorrow morning before he goes to that courthouse to pick up the letter. And also, when I saw that ambulance and everything out in front of her house, I thought it was for her. I really did, because that's her MO. But he says that he was actually trying to check his mail because, it'd been since December 1st since he'd been there. And he needed to get his mail, and as he pulled the mail out, all of a sudden he hit the ground. Now, hopefully nobody hit him. Nobody knows. He says that a person driving by actually saw him laying there face down on the sidewalk and called the ambulance. So thank goodness somebody called the ambulance, but he got a bunch of stitches in his head too. And so I guess that explains why the police were there. And he says actually the police have been trying to contact him so they can find out what happened, but I don't know. Like I said, I hope nobody hit him while he was checking the mail. This poor guy, yeah. He's currently living out of his car because he doesn't want to do a thing. So I told him, make sure you tell the judge that, you've never been served with anything, even a proper eviction notice, and that you would like to at least be able, after the court session, go in there and go get your clothes, the rest of your stuff that's in there, provided anything's still in there. She's currently advertising that she's got 2 efficiency rooms for rent. And one of them would be his room. Okay, it looks pretty good. Yeah, I just finished writing up the letter for David to take into the courtroom tomorrow. Don't know if it'll help, but it will definitely shed some light on the fact that my neighbor is definitely in the habit of screaming elder abuse. She clearly is like the boy who cried wolf, just keeps screaming somebody's done something to her, when the reality is eventually if somebody does something to her, no one's going to believe her. Okay, good luck to you, David. Good luck to you. Okay, so David just left. He came and picked up the paper. I gave him a nice little folder to put the documents and the declaration, including the thing in the Acorn where she's advertising his room is for rent. Considering he hasn't been legally evicted yet, I don't think she's really in a position to advertise that his room is for rent. But I could be wrong. It won't, like I said, anything could help, anything might not help, but I threw anything in there I could. And I gave him 2 copies of everything because I remembered when I was in that courtroom, you have to always have a copy for the person that is accusing you of something. Yeah, when I went in there, for the fences, for everything, I had to give a copy of the video, copy of pictures, copy of everything that I was going to show the judge, basically. Miss Crosnoe had to have a copy of. So I made sure he had a copy to give to her. Okay, so my letter wasn't able to be used today, and she got a continuance for February, 3rd or something like that. And she showed up using a cane, and she... I am so sorry the judge did not let you hand that paper, but since you do have the hearing, You're good. No, you have to hear. Listen to me for a second, okay? Right. Okay. So the other witnesses, like I said, I can't be with you in that courtroom, but when you have that hearing, you can show that paper and just file it under the E-100 as a declaration from a witness. But you are going to have to contact the police to get your stuff out of there. But no, you're not required to have witnesses to disprove that you didn't do something. She's the one required to prove that you did something. And so you got to make sure the judge knows that. I mean, I'm sure the only reason the judge isn't, ruling on anything at this point is because he don't know what the heck's going on. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for calling me and letting me know. And hang in there. That's all I can say is hang in there. Poor David. Yeah, he just called me. He's a little distraught because it didn't go the way he anticipated. But, it never does in that courtroom when it involves Miss Crosnoe. And, of course, she asked for a continuance. He goes, she showed up with a cane and she was laughing with the clerk. And I'm like, that's the same clerk that she was laughing when I was in there. And I point blank told the judge it was a conflict of interest for her to be cracking jokes while accusing me of assault. And unfortunately, David, he don't know how to talk to the judge. He's not really a fighter, I think he needs to get somebody in his corner that is legally, bound to speak correctly to the judge. But he did manage to stop at the DA's office, so that's a good thing, and fill out a form regarding fraud on her. And he gave the DA my letter to the judge, since the judge wouldn't look at it at this point, and the DA is going to look at it and do a little investigating. But yeah, apparently he said he saw the declaration that she wrote about him, and she was saying that he's done all kinds of things to her, and he hasn't. And yeah. But the police are going to escort him to get some of his stuff, the rest of the stuff out of his room. She hasn't seen the letter that I wrote, so she'll see it eventually, I guess, in February when there's a hearing. But he's being told that he needs to bring physical people to verify that he hasn't done anything to her. And I'm like, no, you do not. You shouldn't have to prove that you haven't done something. She should prove that you have done something. So, yeah, hopefully when he finally gets to have that hearing, based on the fact that, once again, she got a continuance because I'm not ready. Yeah. How do you claim somebody's done something to you and then not be ready to show what they've done to you? Yeah. My neighbor, she's crazy, and she's got another fish on the line to have to be stuck with her in that courtroom for quite some time. Yeah, this isn't my fight to fight, but I feel so bad for him, and I do hope he continues to at least go to that courtroom, because it really is to his advantage to go. The mere fact that there is a hearing now scheduled, that means he is disputing that he deserves that restraining order. And, maybe it will be denied eventually. But right now, yeah, he's still stuck with it. And I just happened to watch my neighbor come home. And, yeah, she's not walking with the cane now. She's so predictable. So predictable. Yeah, but, she didn't expect to see him in that courtroom, so that kind of threw her off. And so now she knows that she's going to have to go back to that courtroom and prove what she's claiming. So, good. I'm glad to hear at least she's going to have to prove it. But I still feel bad for David, because that means he has to go back too, Okay, it's 5 days before Christmas, and the results from yesterday's court date has been posted. And as you can see, yes, proof of service, that Linda finally was able to serve him with that temporary restraining order. Order to request to continue the hearing. by Linda. Yep, of course. And it's been continued to February the 6th at 1:30 in the same courtroom. Now, so much could have happened differently in that courtroom yesterday, including, but most importantly, she could have just said, I may have overreacted. You don't need the restraining order, and let's just end this. But nope, because he showed up. See, she showed up with a cane. Didn't need a cane the day before, and not after she got home, but she had a cane in that courtroom, her prop, right? She gets her sympathy any way she can get it. But yeah, okay. This is not my fight to fight. I just feel so bad for this guy because I do know what he's dealing with. And yeah, like I said, she could have just dropped it right then, right there, and that would have been the end of it. But because he showed up, she decided she's going to continue it and fight it. And now she needs proof that he did these things to her. Like, why didn't she have that proof anyway? What happened was, of course, that when she showed up yesterday, she didn't think he was going to show up because he hadn't been served. Just like she didn't think I was going to show up. And, all the other people she's accused of elder abuse, they did not show up because they just didn't want to deal with it, obviously, or maybe they weren't aware of it or whatever. But, now my case and his case, the judge is seeing people are disputing her claim of elder abuse. So as much as it pains me to see that David has to go in there and do this and that justice is being delayed, I think ultimately that restraining order for 5 years will be denied, hopefully. At least the judge has given him a chance to come back and prove or disprove. I just don't believe he should have to disprove he didn't do anything. I mean, shouldn't it be on the person who's accusing you of something have to prove you did something? Yeah. So anyway, hopefully in February, his ordeal, his headache will come to an end. Hopefully.